Hello, 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 and what is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and I am joined by my lovely wife,
WritingRaven.
And we're back for another episode of Psycho-Synopsis.
Indeed.
The segment where we summarize all the Psycho for you. Just a scattering of topics throughout the week, all summarized into one neat little package for you to enjoy and consume at your leisure.
You are welcome.
So, we got a couple topics to discuss today. Even with the writer's strike, there has still been news. So, without further ado,
let us begin with our first client, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk names Linda Yaccarino, a former advertising executive at NBC Universal, as the new Twitter CEO.
And there has been some cause for concern by some people.
Now, I want to clarify. She's not just an advertising executive at NBC Universal. She's also been someone who's on the World Economic Forum, and she's also been on, I believe, both the Trump and Biden administrations. Now, we know that we don't like to get very political here, so we're going to be very careful what we say.
Yeah, but if you want more details on those points of the subject, you may watch somebody else.
But we are going to address it because it's interesting. Now, Elon Musk is going to be stepping down in about 6 weeks, and this person will be replacing him as the CEO, and he will become the CTO, or overseeing the product.
Yeah. Which can be both a good and a bad thing.
Now, I don't think Elon's going to let her have free reign and do whatever she wants, but again, it is a little bit concerning given her ties and given some of the things that she said before. Now, I have a little bit of a different take than other people do. Again, a lot of people are leaning more into political sides for this, and that's fair. They have a right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this. We don't know what she will do when she is in charge of this particular kind of thing. Elon's not going away. If he was going to completely exit and let her take control, that would be a cause for concern.
True.
But he's not. He's going to be overseeing the product, meaning that he's going to be overseeing the systems and everything, and I'm sure he will be overseeing what she is doing as well.
I would hope so.
And I'm sure he will still have power over the creative direction of the platform like he has done before. I don't think Elon has been doing the best things for the platform. I think that there are certain things that he's got done very well, like the community notes function is great.
Mm-hmm.
Will this person be good for Twitter? I don't know.
It remains to be seen.
There's a lot of things that causes for concern here. But at the same time, we don't know what she will do for the platform when she is in charge of it. So, as much as there's plenty of things to be skeptical about and to point a finger at and say, well, this was a terrible mistake, I'm going to wait and see what she actually does, because maybe, just maybe, she'll end up being what we need. I don't think so. I personally think that I'm a little skeptical about it.
But it is always good to give the benefit of the doubt before completely jumping to conclusions, regardless of which side you do it for.
Elon has made mistakes.
Yes. But
he has learned from them and moved forward. If this turns out to be one of them, I'm sure he will do something along the same lines.
Perhaps, but again, it remains to be seen.
So we're going to give her the benefit of the doubt for now. Again, we're going to be skeptical, but we are going to give her the benefit of the doubt to see how she operates when she's actually in charge of this platform and what she does, and how Elon gets involved with it. That will remain to be seen. Again, if you feel uncomfortable about it or anything, that's totally fine. We completely understand, but we're not going to get into the political implications. We're simply going to say, based on some past behaviors and stuff, there is definitely cause to be skeptical.
And some concern, regardless. But, moving on. And next, we have Disney.
The Walt Disney Company CEO, Bob Iger, confirmed much of the content the company created for Disney Plus was not, quote, driving sub-growth, end quote, for the streaming platform.
It only took him this long to figure it out.
Now again, I want to clarify a couple things. A lot of people are pointing out that Disney just lost 4,000 jobs, and they're like, oh, it's woke and whatever, and that's what... No, that's not the reason they lost the amount of subscribers.
I thought it was 4 million.
4 million, whatever. The reason they lost subscribers and the reason they're having to cut people is because of different things they were offering that they're getting rid of. For example, different things sports-wise. That's what all the information has said. Do I think that there isn't some part of this that's impacted by what they're putting out? Absolutely, I think that there is. We've recognized that this is not the best content. Some of it is very poorly made. And with that being the case, it's not going to reflect, well, nor entice people to come watch. Quantity is not better than quality in this case.
And unfortunately, it's taking them this long to figure that out, when we've all been telling them for years, but they wouldn't listen. Now you reap what you sow. Enjoy losing more subscribers and money from the subpar products you put out.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think this is them waking up either. I think that this is them just kind of realizing that maybe they have to cut back on things because of money. I think they're still going to push the same kind of talking points. They're still going to push the same kind of product because that's what they've been doing so far and getting away with it.
True.
They might put out less rather than scattergun content, which is what they've been doing. I haven't really watched anything on Disney Plus. I think the only thing we've ever watched there was season 1 of The Mandalorian.
And maybe the first 2 episodes of Clone Wars season 7.
And then we gave up because we become kind of so apathetic to Star Wars that it's not even really that interesting.
And yeah, we don't have a Disney Plus subscription. We honestly don't care. The only thing Disney we technically still have is my Disney Villains leather jacket.
Yeah, but that's something we bought before all this kind of stuff, and that's something that, again, for a while, people don't realize this. For a while, myself and Raven were what you would consider normies. We were. We kind of woke up to things and recognized what was going on, and we noticed it before, it just kind of finding the right words to put it.
Yeah, definitely that.
But I'm not surprised to hear that they're having trouble. I'm glad that they're at least waking up to it partly. I don't think they're going to wake up in the ways that matter. And I think we'll still see some more, subpar content coming out because that's what they've been doing. That's what they've been getting away with. That's what they've been focusing on. Maybe this is a step forward, but it remains to be seen. And as my wife has already said, we've been telling you this for ages.
Yeah. A lesson learned a little too late, even if it's not really learned in full.
I definitely don't think it will be, because I think that they will continue the way that they've been doing because they've gotten away with it so far. They just will put out less of it.
Yeah, perhaps. And either way, they're gonna make less money.
True, but again, the long-term implications of this remains to be seen at this point.
Also true. Shall we move on? And speaking of Disney, we have the Disney-Hulu merger.
In a Disney earnings call, CEO Bob Iger announced the company will combine Disney Plus and Hulu content into a one-app experience by the end of 2023.
Good luck with that.
So I want to clarify something. They're not actually merging Disney Plus and Hulu together yet. What they're simply doing is merging the both into one product. Why would they do that and not actually merge them together? Well, because they want the money from both subscriptions, and they want to also be able to count them in regards to subscribers to Disney Plus.
But don't they already count Hulu subscriptions as Disney subscriptions?
They did, because they had made, you could get Hulu and Disney Plus bundled together.
Oh, yeah.
But if it's on the same app, they can technically say, well, if it's on the same app, we can count them as someone who watches Disney Plus, even if a lot of people will be on the app to watch Hulu and not Disney Plus content.
I suppose. But they won't be able to fudge the numbers as well if they do it.
No, they will. They will. They're Disney. They've been able to fudge the numbers this long and get away with it.
No, yeah. It's why lawyers never want to compete against Disney.
But that's because they have so much money that they can burn them out before they even have enough time to get a case together.
Do they still have that money, though?
I don't know. People like to say that Disney's going to go bankrupt and stuff like that. Let's be 100% honest. They're never going to go bankrupt, and the reason is because if they really got to a point where they were desperate for money, they have so many franchises and assets they could sell off for a big profit, they'll be fine.
True.
And the theme parks still make money.
Even if it costs you an arm and a leg and an unborn child.
To get in. It still makes money, and that's where the majority of their income comes from. So even if Disney Plus isn't doing well, they're not necessarily going to shutter and close it down.
I suppose.
I do think in the future we will see a merger of Hulu and Disney Plus, because it would be silly of them not to. But for now, I think this is the first step. It's expected. Honestly, it is not something that I would look at and go, oh, this was not expected, oh, crazy. No, it was expected because this is what Disney does. They bought a bunch of different things and they're going to put them together into one, just like For example, HBO Max is now becoming Max, and they're incorporating other things as well. Same thing for Disney. The idea is, I like to use, the analogy I like to use for this thing is, I don't know if a lot of people remember, there was a video game that was popular for a little while. It was like a browser game. It was called Agario.
Oh yeah, you've mentioned this before.
And Agario's, the whole purpose of the game was you were a blob and you would eat smaller blobs and become bigger. And the bigger you got, the more you were able to eat other blobs. So for example, if you became the biggest blob, you could eat everybody else's. Right now, we have Max and Disney. And they're both decent-sized blobs, and they just eat everything else and become bigger. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing what's called the streaming wars, and it's not about who has the best product, it's who has the most product.
Yeah, Netflix used to be the biggest because they practically invented it.
And Netflix is still doing okay, but at a certain point I would not be surprised if something snaps up Netflix as well. But I think the best analogy, as I said, is Agario, because that's what Disney is a giant blob that eats other blobs. And same thing for Max. And again, that's great, but it doesn't further things. What it does is it actually basically just makes it like, okay, so now we're just going to incorporate this and that and this and that. And that's fine, but like, for example, putting Hulu and Disney Plus on the same app, that kind of makes it easy to count subscribers to Hulu and Disney Plus together and get away with it. But eventually, I do think that Disney will consume Hulu and will become part of Disney Plus because they need the money and they need the content.
I do think that describing them as a gelatinous mass is very appropriate.
A gelatinous mass with a Disney logo on it, mind you. Mm-hmm. The mouse needs its other blob-shaped cheddar.
Can cheddar be a blob shape?
I'm pretty sure cheese comes in a lot of shapes, but I don't know why we're talking about that.
You're the one who brought up cheddar.
Because the mouse needs his cheddar, huh?
Oh, well. Still more entertaining than anything Disney has come up with as of late.
True.
So, let's move on. And now we have the Acolyte.
I'm afraid my pronouns will be quite operational when your friends arrive.
No, that's not true. That's impossible.
The Acolyte showrunner, Leslie Headland, reveals her personal motivation for spotlighting queer female baddies in the upcoming Star Wars show.
Gag.
So, she basically came out and said a bunch of different things that's really stupid, and one of the things she said was that she couldn't identify with the heroes growing up, and that instead when she would see a bad guy come out who was all, quote, queer-coded, end quote, that she would go, yes, that's me.
I mean, I identified with the bad guys, but for completely different reasons.
You know what's funny? I never, when I was watching things and saw the hero, I never looked at the hero and said, that's me. I looked at the hero and said, wow, that's someone I can look up to. That's someone who exemplifies certain traits and things that I want to exemplify.
Pretty much. Same with villains sometimes.
Yes, and sometimes villains as well. But I never looked at one of them and said, that has to be me. No, I don't have to see myself on the screen. I have to see things that make the person or the character desirable for me and relatable. If you decided that a character was queer-coded and that's how you made yourself feel good about yourself when watching movies, then you have a very big problem.
The way I would see myself into franchises I liked was I would write myself into them in imaginary fan fictions. Sometimes I would even LARP them with my brothers. Well, one of my brothers anyway. The other one didn't think it was very fun.
Who didn't LARP certain things when they were younger with lightsabers and whatever?
Lightsabers, katana, fake katanas, Nerf guns, you name it. It was all a game.
And it was never, oh, I am this person or I am that person, because it wasn't necessary. And coming out and making statements like this is going to alienate what little fan base you had. I don't think that Disney is going to let us know how well the show does. But given that it's Leslie Headland running it, and the people that she's picked and the things that they've said, which is not the first stupid thing they've said, this show's going to be a trash fire. And that's the nicest way I can say it.
You really shouldn't insult trash fires, though.
As I said, that's the nicest way I could say it.
I'll just call it trash on fire.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Good luck. I think that coming out and saying things, again, If it's so far along that you're coming out and saying things, where's the plot?
Where's the product? Where's a trailer? Where's behind-the-scenes images, concept art? Where's anything?
Where's a character bio? Where is anything? Oh, we're gonna have queer bad guys. Hooray!
No one cares.
Give us something tangible to look at, and then we'll base it off our opinions based off that. Don't come out and say, oh, we're pandering to you. Come watch our stuff, because guess what? They'll scream and cry about it on Twitter and how much it makes them feel so good, and then they won't actually watch it because they never were going to.
Yeah, you don't actually get customers when you pander to them.
Likes on Twitter does not equal money.
They really do not understand that.
I think they do. I just think they're so far gone at this point that they're never going to recognize it enough to actually do something about it.
I weep for humanity sometimes. But as you said last night, these are more the dregs.
True.
Moving on. And speaking of Star Wars, we have Rian Johnson.
I'm this close to getting my trilogy, guys.
We are witnessing mental illness. Help us. Get us out.
Ray!
They fly now!
Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy addresses why The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson's trilogy of Star Wars movies still hasn't materialized.
And what was the reason that she gave?
He's too busy.
That's such a stupid reason.
He's been so busy that they just can't get him. I hate to break it to you. I know there are some people out there who liked The Last Jedi. Fine. I like it. But even those who like it can recognize that it was a very polarizing film.
I mean, even your uncle who likes The Last Jedi agreed with certain points he made.
Exactly. They can agree, except the weirdos on Twitter aside, most people who are normal who liked it can agree that it was not a great movie in the sense where it was very polarizing and split the fan base.
It really did.
And Rian Johnson took a lot of the threads from the first one that were laid that would have been actually interesting to explore and basically ruined them. Now, is Rian Johnson a good filmmaker? Yes, he is. For certain kinds of films. Not Star Wars.
We have heard that Knives Out was good, but we didn't care to see it.
He can be a good, writer or director of films, but just not be good in a specific genre. And you guys have been saying for so long how he's going to have his trilogy, and guess what? It has yet to materialize.
I'm pretty sure they've been saying he's going to be getting a trilogy for 2 years now?
We're not stupid. If it was going to happen, we'd have some notifications about it. We'd have something. You literally have given us nothing aside from, it's still coming, guys. Sure, it's still coming. Where is it? It's not here. Show us actual evidence that it's coming, or stop trying to lie and gaslight. It's okay to admit that you're not going to go forward with it because it was a polarizing film. That's fine. It doesn't mean that, give me our babies and the Chuds win. It means that you decided it wasn't in your best interests monetarily.
What he said. You pretty much summed it up perfectly.
There's nothing else to say. Good luck to you, Rian Johnson. Good luck with whatever else you make. Please don't come back to Star Wars. If you do, it'll be fun because we'll get to pick it apart and laugh at it. And that's what we do. We don't blindly hate on these things. We usually just laugh at them now because it's better to laugh than hate.
That is true. Life is more fun that way.
Doesn't mean I don't like certain things that happen in the film and I don't think whatever, but I'm not going to hate on it because life's too short to hate. I'm going to laugh.
Yeah, people on Twitter, take notes. Living your lives in such a miserable existence is really no way to live. Be a little more carefree. Moving on. And next up, we have Chris Pratt.
Angry Twitter users have come out in droves to attack action star Chris Pratt for talking about his faith and how he uses it to deal with criticism from haters online.
Well done, sir.
Now, as you guys know, my wife and I are, Orthodox Jewish, more modern. But if you are a different religion, we don't care. You do your own thing as long as you don't try to shove it down our throats or make us believe it as well.
Yeah, that's your faith. We have ours. Chris Pratt has his. Everyone else has theirs.
And I love, though, that he comes out about this, and there's a ton of people who are mad at him about it. For example, I think I could further our society if someone let me cut him open and study his brain.
That has to be the most extreme one of them all so far.
Damn, he used to be cool. What an effing idiot now. Aging does not equal intelligence. Once you bring up God or Jesus, I dismiss everything you're saying.
So you're an atheist?
Jesus loves you, but not enough to save you.
Really?
Using religion as an excuse not to self-reflect. We love to see it.
And then there were also some people who said that, we were the problem?
Yeah, there was someone who even said that he might hate Jews too, whatever. Look, this is ridiculous. Chris Pratt has never done anything in particular that's come out and been like, yes, here's evidence, whatever. There are other people, like Ezra Miller, who we have evidence on, and yet he gets to still have his movie. Chris Pratt gets to get mindlessly hated on by these people, and we're supposed to just be like, yep, he deserves it based on nothing.
I really hate how twisted the world can be sometimes.
I want to read one more because this one is really important to point out. Even when they recognize they don't have a leg to stand on, listen to this. Yes, I know he's associated with the anti-gay church, yet he has said he doesn't agree with all of their beliefs. Now, that's not true, but regardless. Of course, he does have a working farm that slaughters animals, so there's that.
Okay, and your point?
We can't get mad at him because he said he's not anti-gay, so we have to find another reason to hate on him. Oh, he has a farm, and they kill animals. Spoiler alert. You order a burger from somewhere? Guess how you got it?
From an animal.
Shocking!
Not all of us can be vegans. Some of us actually need meat to live. All hail meat.
This is ridiculous. Again, it doesn't matter what faith you are. I think we can all agree that you should not be given this amount of hate over saying your faith helps you and helps you deal with haters online. And he does get haters. So pretending there's not, this is only one page of like 4 that I made for a compilation that literally shows exactly that he does have haters, he has a reason to struggle, and if his faith helps him through it, all power to him. You guys need to shut up.
Indeed.
You're not going to cancel him. It isn't working. Cry more. You have nothing on him. And if you hate him just for being Christian, then who's the real bigot?
I don't know, but what's wrong with butchering that adorable little lamb?
We're not going to talk about that.
Aw, but it's so cute. I want to butcher it up and eat him.
Behave.
Sorry, I had to put that in there.
No. Back. Back.
But yeah, props to you, Chris Pratt. Keep doing what you're doing. We respect you for it.
Yep.
Moving on. And lastly, we have the Winchesters.
The supernatural spin-off, The Winchesters, has been canceled by the CW, but Jensen Ackles isn't giving up the show without a fight.
Yeah, well, considering no one ever heard about it since the trailer for it came out, I'm not surprised it got canceled.
Like, there was no buzz for this. Now, I've actually heard from people who have watched it. Now, we have not, for full disclosure, we have not watched it.
I do still need to finish Supernatural as a whole, though.
Yeah, I just kind of got bored of it eventually.
And from what I've heard about the ending, I'm kind of glad I didn't finish it.
Regardless, they made this series to kind of spin off on the Winchester story, and they apparently took a lot of creative liberties and changed it from what we already knew that was, established in the actual show. And from what I've heard, now this is spoilers for anybody who doesn't want to hear, okay? This is what I've heard. Again, I'm not saying it as objective fact, it's just what I've been told.
So, spoiler territory in 3, 2, 1, go.
Apparently they explained the inconsistencies in the plot by making it into a multiverse.
Which they did introduce in season 10 or 11 of Supernatural, of a multiverse in which you can travel to other versions of reality through the powers of dreamwalking.
Maybe, but why do we need a multiverse?
We don't. But they needed a way somehow to explain how Dean and Sam's parents met in a way that wasn't consistent with the actual show, that actually had episodes about their parents meeting.
Why couldn't we just have a show that was based off the actual show? The actual stuff that we know? Why couldn't we have just seen that?
I mean, there was supposed to be that show Wayward Sisters, which was, all the female hunters that they've met and trained over the years. But that only ended up being one episode.
And there was also going to be another spin-off that was based on, like, monsters being in, like, the mob and stuff like that, and that one also didn't make it to anywhere.
I know the one you wanted was Charlie's Adventures in Oz.
Yes, come on! Who else doesn't want Charlie's Adventures in Oz? You tell me you don't want that.
He is a big Oz fan, and even he wanted to see the evil Wizard of Oz.
I wanted to see that kind of show. This was not necessary, and a lot of people who wanted to watch this, who were fans of Supernatural, weren't that interested in this because of the creative liberties they took.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Supernatural on its own is always going to be a great show, save for maybe the ending. But even so, it really was not necessary.
And there was so much they could have spun off and could have done well, and this was what they thought they needed to do, and they're now trying to get it picked up by like another place, because apparently they have 5 seasons planned.
What?
You remember a time where you didn't plan 5 seasons of a show and expect to be getting them? Because sometimes when your show wasn't good, it just got canceled, and that's why it was canceled, because it wasn't good.
I thought Jensen Ackles would have known better.
Well, I'm annoyed because apparently they didn't get
Jared Padalecki?
Yeah, they didn't get him involved, and he didn't even know about it. And so, because Jensen Ackles is a co-producer of it or whatever, executive producer or whatever, that's why he's fighting for it so hard. But I honestly think that was really mean to Jared Padalecki, and also...
Especially because he suffers from depression.
I think this whole thing was a mess. It was unnecessary, and I don't even understand why they're fighting so hard for it. If it wasn't a good show, perhaps it needs to go away. And if it is a good show, and people put their money where their mouth is, and they get it picked up, that's great. But I remember a time where if something didn't do well, it was just canceled.
Yeah, I miss those days.
Not everything that is canceled must be saved. Sometimes it's best to let sleeping dogs lie.
Indeed. Moving on? And with that being our last client of the day, it is time for us to reveal the diagnosis of the week.
And we got an interesting diagnosis for you today.
Do tell.
So the diagnosis for this week is tangential thinking.
Please explain.
So tangential thinking is basically, you ever have a conversation with someone where you ask them something and they kind of go off on a tangent on something unrelated, and no matter what you try to do or try to address, they keep jumping around? So an example is, it says here, when a therapist poses the question, "How was your week?" and the person responds with, "When I was 5, my cat was killed." So then the therapist asks about the cat, and then they begin to discuss something completely different. How does this relate to Hollywood? Well, it's because whenever good arguments are brought up for whatever they're doing, for example, when it comes to race swaps, gender swaps, all this kind of stuff, and they give good reasons why, hey, maybe you shouldn't be doing that, instead of addressing the points, they simply go to a different topic, or they simply move away, because they don't have any point. So we see this so often now that it's become literally the norm for Hollywood. Can't actually come up with a good response, call them racist. Can't actually, come back at them with something good, call them sexist. We see this all the time. And that's why I feel this is a great diagnosis for this week, because we see it so often.
I agree.
And now we move on to the remedy of the week.
And this week we will be sending you to our friend GeekT42, who is just another geeky YouTube channel, but with tea. I do like tea. As his views to reviews and news he comes across, gives his thoughts on the world of pop culture, geekiness, and other things that he likes, and is all around a pretty good guy.
Yeah, so GeekT42 has been a very big supporter of us, has always been, someone who, if you ever need help getting subs, you ever need help, whatever, they've always reached out for us, and they make some great content. They are still working on building up a following, so we're hoping this shout out will help them send a couple more of you guys their way, and trust me, you won't regret it, because it's worth a subscribe.
Indeed. So grab your teacups, head on over there, and let him know that Gothic Therapy referred you.
Indeed. But that is all we have for this week. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and also make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe with notifications on so you do not miss your weekly therapy session.
Or you will be charged. But remember, when you do subscribe, your first session is free, so smash those buttons like they're bad giddies. And do consider joining us at the Dusk, Midnight, or Dawn level. We would appreciate it quite a lot. You can also find links to all of our socials in the description below, as well as links to our merch store and our Discord server known as The Clinic. Be sure to check them out. And if you don't want to stick with us here on YouTube, you can also find us on Rumble and Odyssey.
So, just a heads up, this is actually the last video that we will be recording in this house. We are moving as of next week. As such, we will not be having time to make a video for next Sunday, unfortunately.
Because we will be moving on that Sunday, and also packing up things in the week in the meantime.
So, we have a live show planned that we're working on. There's more information on that in the community tab if you want to hear about it. We're pushing it back just a little bit till we get moved in, but it should also make recording easier because we'll be in a slightly different location.
With less noisy neighbors.
Yeah, and some good stuff to come. So just keep that in mind. It's a little bittersweet because this is the last video we will be recording here, but you know what? All's well that ends well.
It's for the best.
So yeah, that's all we have for this week, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Gothic Therapy, out.